Starting closest to me, we've got Kevin Chalimo. He's a Kenyan who lives in Eugene, Oregon. He's making his marathon debut. He owns a 1:01:21 half marathon PR that he ran in 2012. He ran for Texas Tech in college. Next to him, we have Weldon Kariuwe from Kenya. He's 25. He owns a 2:09:06 personal best, which is a pretty fast time. Ran that in 2012. He's also run a 1:01:10 half marathon. And his wife was out here training a few years ago, if I remember right, in the Auburn area, so he knows the area just a little bit. And then we have Drew Pauly, 28, from Port Orchard, Washington. Drew has run a 1:04:52 half marathon. He's a former Washington State runner. He finished 16th in the Boston Marathon in 2010 with a 2:16:36 effort. He's run 2:14:58 as his best. And on the end we have Scott Smith from Oklahoma City, also making his debut in the marathon. He's run a 1:03:18 half marathon best in 2012. He's a UC Santa Barbara graduate. He set his 10,000 meter best down the road in Palo Alto in 2012 at 28:33:94. So I just want to get started with a couple of questions. I want to start with Weldon. Weldon, can you talk a little bit about what you do know about this area and this course, since Caroline was out here a while back, and if you know much about the Sacramento area?
I will be very happy to run Sacramento. This for my first time in Sacramento to run marathon. I have heard the course is really flat. I try, but I heard weather is very cold. But I try my best.
Thank you. And for Drew, can you talk a little bit about what you're expecting tomorrow, what you know of the course, and what you're hoping to get done?
Yeah, I've had the benefit of talking to some of my old training partners that have run the course before, and one nugget of wisdom they had passed on is that the second half of the course tends to run pretty fast. It's a fast course overall, but there can be some kind of mid-miles where you run into some hills, and you might see some slower miles, and it's important not to freak out and try to compensate too much. You can end up making up a lot of time later in the course. So I'm kind of trying to take that to heart and run a little bit of a conservative plan, and try to pace myself pretty evenly tomorrow, and then see if I can pick up some time at the end for maybe a little bit of a negative split, and hoping to bank another U.S. Trials qualifier, and I think it's going to be a good day to do it tomorrow.
Thanks. And a question for either Scott or Kevin. You're both making your marathon debuts. Just some thoughts on what's going through your head, not having raced at this distance before.
I'm really wondering what I got myself into, actually. No, I mean, my training, I've been running a lot of miles, and I feel very ready to run it. But like I mentioned earlier, the Frank Shorter quote, I've been really trying to respect the last 10 miles. I've never done the race, as you mentioned, but in my mind, not necessarily saving anything, but being aware that that last 10K is going to be extremely difficult.
Thanks. We're going to open it up to general questions now.
All right, who wants to ask the first question? Who's going to ask that first question? Yes, Buckeyes, Ohio State. Good luck tomorrow. Oh, today.
So this is obviously a pretty fast course, and you mentioned some about the qualifying standards. You guys, I don't know, going after more kind of PR type performances or place type performances tomorrow when you're evaluating your goals?
I think at least for the Americans in the field, time is something we're very aware of because there's bonuses on the line for sub 219 and sub 215 performances. But you also don't want to become too time obsessed, and it is a race, you're out there to compete, so being aware of your competition is a big thing as well.
Who's got the next question? Who's got it? Who's got it? 2:10, set in 1993 by Jerry Lawson. This is my 14th year announcing this race, and I want to announce one of your names next year. So PR, Kevin, you know, the course, this is your first time running a marathon. What do you think? Course record 2:10, going for it, or what do you think? There's 5,000 extras, 10,000 if you win, 5,000 extra if you get the course record. What do you think? First time out here.
Because I've never ran. Because this will be my first marathon, I'll try my best. I'll try my best to run maybe 2:14.
All right, 2:14. All right, so
Yeah.
being humble, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
Course record, 2:10. You guys think you've got it in you, or you never know? What do you think?
Don't look at me.
Who's got the next question? It's not often you get to ask elite caliber athletes like this questions. All right, Santa Barbara, running and racing again. How you doing?
How important are your coaches to you? What have they taught you? What do you take with you when you're running? What is the saying that your coach puts in your mind? How does that help you run a race?
I've been coached by the Hanson's group in Michigan for the last 4 years until recently, and they've had a lot of success bringing kind of mediocre runners like myself to decently respectable performances in the marathon. And a big thing I've picked up on from them is actually really respecting the distance of the race. They stress that a lot, and what that means is it's basically kind of a rephrasing of just pacing yourself correctly, being realistic about your goals, and using the correct pace from the start of the race. In the marathons, you'll sometimes hear people talk about banking time in the early miles, and that's a strategy that rarely works. So by respecting the distance and knowing that, as you pointed out earlier, some people will say that the halfway point's about 20 miles. You keep that in mind, and you expect that those last 6 miles are kind of a whole new ball game, and you have to save a lot of energy for them. So strategy can really play a big role in the marathon.
Any other thoughts on that initial question about coaching and what they've taught you about strategy out there on 26.2 miles? All right, who's got the next question? Yes, sir, in the orange. Come on over.
Hi, Nick Carroll from just outside of San Francisco. I was wondering if you could talk about your training plans, your weekly mileage, and any sort of cross-training you may do.
Cross-training, Kevin, do you swim or bike or lift weights, do yoga, Pilates?
Yeah, I do a lot of weights, but mostly I concentrate on long mileage.
Pure
Like
running.
I do 120 miles, then do a lot of weights.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go down the line again. Cross-training, swimming, biking, Pilates, yoga, weights, anything? Just pure running. Pure running. All right. Next.
I like to lift weights, but it's more for impressing the ladies and not looking too obese.
Are the ladies impressed? Let's hear it to this guy. Is he single?
Running
He's
really
single?
eats away at
Okay, he's giving out his phone
biceps.
numbers afterwards. No, I'm just kidding. The man on the end.
Yeah, I pretty much just run as much as I can. I feel like that's the best way to get better at running is running. But I do appreciate that there are other forms of cross training. My girlfriend always tries to get me to do yoga, but I just feel like I'm gonna get stuck. So I just run pretty much.
There you go. You got an Oklahoma City Marathon. That's a pretty good race over there.
Yeah, I'm actually a very recent resident, past couple months, so I haven't been there for the Oklahoma City Marathon, but I think it comes up in the springtime and the city gets very excited about it.
You know Mark Bravo?
What's that?
You know Mark Bravo?
No, I haven't met
You'll
him.
meet him. He's a good guy in Oklahoma City. Who's got another question for these guys? You guys, oh, here we go. He's a Boston Marathon finisher. What year? Last year, all right, cool.
Hi, I'm Simon from Toronto. If you have any question about running in the cold, just ask me after. Seriously, I was just so interested in the type of speed work you do preparing for a marathon, sort of the type of interval training that you would do in getting ready for this type of distance. I'd like to get some insight into that.
Speed work.
I guess speed work is kind of a relative term in the marathon, but for me it's and it's stuff I picked up with the Hanson's group. There's a lot of just big bulk repeats, like 3x3 miles, 5x2 miles, even 2x6 miles at maybe a little bit under marathon pace. So it feels fast, and part of the reason is that it's during big mileage weeks of, I mean, for me, like 130 miles a week, so you're doing it depleted. Just a lot of those bulk repeats at just a little bit slighter than marathon pace, which kind of ends up being around your threshold pace or so. And just kind of getting a lot of work on that threshold seems to help a lot for me.
Okay, I'd like to thank all 4 of our top male runners for coming, and good luck tomorrow on the race.